Dandavas, Maharaj. Happy to see you, Maharaj. Maharaj, no sound. No sound. You mute. Ahora sí, yeah.
No, okay.
Happy to see you.
Yes,
Dandavas.
happy to see you also, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavas.
Where is
Kicha
everyone
Prabhu.
today?
Dandavas, Kicha Prabhu. Dandavas. Maharaj.
Priyatama, Pridarshani are not there, huh?
Maharaj, today Priyatama no good
Health.
here, no tension in the room.
Oh, okay.
No good, no good. She no good.
Oh.
Entonces Priyadarshini is Priyadarshini, Priyatama in the room.
Okay.
Oh, today, no.
Very hard.
Okay.
Sorry, Maharaj.
I hope they will be okay. Praying for their good health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You health fine.
My health is good, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay.
Somehow, by Krishna's and Krishna Kesava's mercy.
Oh, very good. Good job for Keshav Prabhu. Good job.
Good job. Yes.
Good job. Dandavas Prabhu. Happy to see you.
Muy feliz.
My life no very happy, but the day Saturday is very happy for see to you, Sri Prabhu, Keshava, Maharaj. We happy Saturday day.
Sábado muy feliz por siéntate todos los devotos.
Very good. Very good.
Muy bien. Gracias.
Here I go in my. Oh,
Should be that.
is that possible? Is that good or what?
You were hearing echo?
I know, I hear you. In my headphone?
You should now.
I shouldn't?
Not now. Before it was, I didn't mute myself.
You didn't?
Before I was speaking through here, so you heard echo. Now I'm speaking through your mic.
Oh, Ben Harinanda can hear you?
Yeah, you have a really good mic.
Oh,
Yes, I hear too, Prabhu.
you can hear, okay.
¿Cómo se presión? Priyatama, arterial pressure, very
160. 160, huh?
no 16. Arterial pressure 16.
116. Oh, they're very high. Very high. Yes.
Sí.
Oh.
She is in bed.
Does she have medicine for blood pressure?
Yes. Doctor come to house.
Okay. Okay.
She
Yeah. Okay.
medicine. Okay.
Corona.
¿Cuántos años tienes?
85, ¿no? 85.
Okay.
She just had birthday, not a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm?
Priyatma, cumpleaños de Priyatma.
¿Qué día?
Febrero.
Enero.
25.
February.
February?
February.
Yes, I remember
25.
not too long
And-
ago you celebrated. You told us.
February.
February.
February 25.
25 February.
26.
Uh,
26.
26 February.
okay.
No good. No good. No here, no, today.
Krishna has his plan for her, for all of us. Haribo, Tony. Ramji, Hare Krishna.
Very good. Very good.
Pranam.
Haribol.
Haribo. You are in Princeton today?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in Oklahoma, huh?
Next month.
Next one. Good. So Santa Maharaj had a meeting today. Some
Hey.
devotees. I don't know whether he will join us.
Okay.
Santa, he had a meeting, you know? He had a meeting today with some devotees.
He write me in the morning for WhatsApp.
He wrote to you?
See, in the morning.
Oh, I see.
You write to me a little thing about a topic in Facebook, personal, in Facebook, attack to Maharaj in Spanish.
I
In
see.
Spanish.
I see, okay.
People in Spanish offend to Maharaj. And I try write to these people what happened to you with Maharaj. I try defend to my Maharaj writing
Okay.
in Spanish,
Yeah.
all in Spanish.
Let's see.
Problem. Every day problem. Every day people write. In my head, poof. Every day problem. Every day. I cansado, yo un poquito cansado. One moment, Maharaj. Poquito. One moment, Maharaj, please.
Anyone else commented?
Priya wrote, said specifically she can't come because she's at a conference.
Keshava Prabhu sent to in English, please.
He's a little tired and stressed from so many problems every day.
In Facebook,
Yes.
people write.
Mm,
I think I like thing in philosophy Vaishnava and Srila Guru Maharaja. And no, I no like create problem in Facebook the people. Oof, yeah, I tired every day. I tired.
Hare Nama, Hare Nama. Hare Nama eva kevala. Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva. Gatiranyata. Mahaprabhu told this Kali Yuga is a terrible time. Yeah. What is that? So many problems. Oh, always disturbed. Mind is always disturbed. Always arguing, everybody arguing. So don't worry about all that. That you'll never solve. That is the nature of Kali Yuga. It's like that. So he said, chant the holy name. That's all. Only way to deal with everything, to chant the holy name. You can't change. Just like in the winter time is very cold. How do you make it hot? How do you make it warm? You can't do that. You can't make it warm in the winter. Winter is supposed to be cold. So what to do? You can chant Hare Krishna. That's all. I can't change. Kali Yuga can't be changed. It has to be like that. Distress, arguments, disturbance.
Yes.
Devotee can always just switch, turn that off like a switch, when the light is on. But when it's dark, you can turn the switch and the light comes on. So in the darkness of Kali, we have our switch also. We turn the switch on, Hare Krishna. As soon as we say Hare Krishna, then the darkness is dispelled. Right, Tony?
I am, as it is, I'm lost from the very beginning. It's okay. I will refrain from making the remarks. It might be silly.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, I said the same thing to people in Oklahoma. I really don't know about Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
They're not happy about it. Yeah.
Yes, any name of God.
Yeah.
We can remember the Lord name. Chant in remembrance of him. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
So they call in Sanskrit, it's called smaranam.
Oh, okay.
Smaranam means remember. Remember. What are we thinking of? What are we remembering?
Thanks.
If we think of all the problems in the world, that's one thing to remember is all the problems in the world. If we remember Krishna, that is another memory that we can have. So what would you rather remember? The problems in the world or Krishna?
You remember positive things. You don't remember negative things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember one time Govinda Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he was staying with Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta. In Calcutta, they had Srila Prabhupada had at that time he was not a sannyasi. Oh no, he was a sannyasi. And I think, and he was staying with Govinda Maharaj and teaching him Bhagavad-Gita by the order of Srila Sridhara Maharaj. He told Govinda Maharaj to learn Bhagavad-Gita from Srila Prabhupada. Anyhow, when Govinda Maharaj was staying with Prabhupada, he used to go out and preach. And have you ever been to Calcutta?
As a child, no, I'm not really familiar with it.
Well, in Calcutta,
I did read up on it. The city apparently has very large. I went to a bookstore meeting recently. Bookstores going out of business in the US. No wonder nobody reads, but apparently Calcutta has a lot of bookstores. It's one of the book heavens in the world. Yeah.
In Calcutta, many people there, they worship Kali.
Oh, I see.
Kali, you know, big Kali worshippers there. And so Govinda Maharaj one day asked Prabhupada, he said, what do I tell these people who are worshiping Kali? How do I get them to become Krishna conscious and not worry so much about Kali? So Prabhupada told, look, you know, if you worship Kali, you tell them, if you worship Kali, you will go to where she lives, in Kali Loka. And in Kali Loka, what do they do there? She lives in the graveyard with all the ghosts and the goblins, and she kills her own sons and eats them, you know, and puts their skull around her neck, on a garland around her neck of skulls. That all these things are there, and they eat meat and all kinds of things, and they have demons associates. And if you want your Kali, you can go to Kali Loka. But if you worship Krishna, you can go to Krishna Loka, where they have rasgulla, ladu, you know, yogurt. Krishna likes all these things. They have the cows and the cowherd boys and girls that are playing in the fields together. And Krishna is playing his flute. You want to worship Kali? You can go where Kali is if you like that. But if you worship Krishna, you will go where Krishna is. How much do you want? He told him like that. So what you remembered is told in the Bhagavad-Gita, what you remember at the time of death, that place you will go to. Yang yam vapi smaram bhavam tajat yante kalevaram. It says in the Bhagavad-Gita. What you are remembering, to that place you will go. So if you are remembering Kali, you will go to Kali Loka. If you are remembering Krishna, you will go to Krishna Loka. So in the same way, if you are remembering this world, all the difficulties that are plaguing this world, then you will stay in this world. But if you remember Krishna, you will be able to go to that place. You will feel yourself present in that place. What you are remembering, you will feel yourself present there. So the process of Krishna consciousness, to always remember Krishna and his beautiful pastimes. Try to be present in thought. Your thoughts should be present there. When your whole attention is there, then you'll feel you're also present there. We have a choice. Om Devi Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Dandavat Pranam.
We have a choice. Thought. Thought. We have a choice what to think. If we are thinking something and we don't like that, then you stop thinking that. And you change your thought to something else that you like, that is better for you. That is yoga. Yeah, it is told. How is that? Mind can be your friend or it can be your enemy. For one who controls the mind, it is his friend. For one who is controlled by the mind, that is his enemy. So you have to make your mind your friend by controlling what you think about, choosing what you think about. Rather than think the bad thing, think about Krishna. We cannot solve the problem of the world by our own thinking, by our own activities. But if we can save ourselves by getting entangled in all those bad things, then we can do some good for ourselves. That's good. And if you do good for yourself, then whoever you meet, they will feel blessed also. They will feel benefited by your company. If you are always depressed and always confused and always anxious, then people will feel, oh, I don't want to stay with him. They're not in a good mind, good spirit. But if you can be of good spirit, good mind, a good thought, then people will like to benefit from that also. So by benefiting yourself, you can benefit others. Not that. There's only selfish. Everyone you come in contact with, they will also be benefited if you are in a good place, good state of mind. Manmana bhava mad bhaktya. Fix your mind upon me. Krishna tells. That is a proper practice of yoga. Yoga means to link yoga. Yoga, like when you yoke the cow, yoke the bull. Put the yoke on the bull and he can pull the plow. Yoke. So to yoke or yoga means to link. Link with Krishna, to remember Krishna. How are you, Uma Devi? You're doing well?
Yes, Maharaj, by your grace, I'm on.
Okay, good. You want to make some prayer for Priyatama? Priyatama Didi is not feeling so well today. And you can also say a prayer for her to recover her health. She is now 85 years old. And she's not there today because she's not feeling well. Jai Sripad Srila Santa Maharaja ki jai.
Pranam Maharaj.
Hari Bol. I'm just saying, Srimati Priyatama Didi is not feeling well today.
What happened?
She has a high blood pressure. Doctor came, she's in her room, recovering, hopefully.
Oh,
So we offer our prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, to the Lord, to look after her and guide her. He knows what destination she has, to continue here or continue there. That is. Maharaj,
First time she no meeting.
Yes. Corona. So what's going on with you, Maharaj? You are in a Always facing so many difficulties also.
Well, Maharaj, we had some meeting today and we discussed, I could not go today personally because one of the devotee, that is Rana, the son of Santosh Prabhu, he broke his hand in accident. So for that reason, the guest also went there to see him in Bardhaman. So we could not all met. But anyway, we had some discussion about few things online, and we will continue that, and we will come to some. We discussed about some course of actions, and we're working on that to actualize that.
Okay. Lord's will. I was telling to Krishna Kesava today that Bahir Nishringa Ridaye Nishringa Nishringa Madim Sharanam Prapadye. What is the proper course of action? Prahlad Maharaj, he understood this. Bahir Nishringa, every outside, everywhere, Nishringa is present. Hridaye Nishringa, and within my heart. Nishringa is outside, he's within my heart. Nishringa Madim Sharanam Prapade. And our only business is Sharanam Prapade, to surrender to the Shringa Dev. Not to think that we can do anything. Not my intelligence, my strength, my power, my money, my documents. It's his will that is deciding. His will is deciding what to be done, what not to be done. And if we could surrender to that, then we will be successful or not successful. But it doesn't matter. That is his business. Our business is only to submit to his will, accept his providence. Otherwise, our position is like Patanga, Patangaka. We are an insect. An insect. His will is all powerful. Our will is like an insect. How much influence can an insect have on anything? His will. An insect has a will also, no? He can fly this way, he can go that way. You can't predict. But that has no big significance to us, to anybody. But Krishna's will, that will decide everything. And our position as an insect, we have to submit to him, submit to his desire. Whatever big position or small position we hold, our position is no more than an insect. Yeah. You know that word, patanga? Is that the right word, patangaka?
Kita Patanga.
Ah,
Kita Patanga means worms and insects.
what? Oh,
Worms and insects.
worm and insect, okay.
Kita means worm, insect means that small worm, sometimes they fly.
So Krishnadas Kaviraj said, I am a worm and stool. He told his position is like that. Our position is like that if we understand everything properly. And so our only hope is to surrender. To surrender to Krishna, allow his will to be done. So, so you have kirtan? You want to have kirtan? Want to do?
Okay.
It's okay if Krishna Kesava leads the kirtan, Maharaj?
Yes, Maharaj, it will be good.
Give you some rest.
Sri
Tomorrow we are
Chaitanya.
What's that?
tomorrow we are meeting in 10:30.
10:30. Oh, yes, for the Sringa Chaturdasi.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Maharaj.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri
Jaya Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu
Nityananda,
Nityananda
Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai
Jaya
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai
Jaya
Shri
Shri Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Nityananda,
Nityananda
Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Jai Gurudev, Gurudev,
Gurudev, Jai Jai
Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jai
Jai Jai Gurudev, Gurudev,
Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Bhakti Niskam Santa Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Jai Samadeva Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Jai Nrsingadev ki Jai. Jai Prahlad Nrsingadev ki Jai. Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari.
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार जगद्गुरु शिला भक्ति माधव पुरी महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्णा टोनी
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
केमती अच्छा
Voila, everything is fine. Yeah, thanks.
What's SK?
It's Kumarji.
who is this SK
Surendra Kumar. Huh?
He likes to hide.
He likes to hide. Okay. Krishna
how are
likes
you
to
Uma
hide.
Didi
Fine, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, by your grace. Guru Gauranga.
Okay, let's chant Vandana. Page 38 on the Pocket Kirtan Guide.
Done. Voy a ver si...
Vandeham Guru
Guru.
Sri Yuta Sri
Sri
Guru Sri Rupam Sagratam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Samitam Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha
Krishna
Krishna
Pada
Padam Sahagana Om Magna Tasmai Shri Puja Shri Guru Bhagavad-Gita Mahabhava Jaya Sada Purva Pachalita Pragya Purtarite Bhakti Nimanirjaya Vritam Samrakshakam Sadaram Vande Shri Guru Devam Ananta Shiracharya Korva Vista Sapurgam Guru Ganai Chintya Chintya Sasare Nikunam Sirupa Panamakam Govinda Vidam Vande Vishwa Guru Shadya Devam Divyatanam Sutam Paranam Balakate Vairagya Vidya Sri Siddhanta Nidhem Bhakti Astam Saraswatam Vande Tam Sukamaveta Shanam Nyashvitaram Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Atta Maya Vara Kingarodham Krishna Prema Sudam Radha Tam Namo Gaur Kishoraya Bhaktavadu Gaurangri Radha Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shivoda Shakti Swaram Bhakti Shastram Yasodram Radha Rasa Gauravajas Shishram Jagannatha Vande Vanchakalpa Turubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Atita Vanchakalpa Bhaktarupa Bhakta Namami Namo Mahavarana Krishna Prema Krishnaya Krishna Namne Jayatam Mahamandra Divya Krishna Srimad Sriman Rasara Samrami Amsivada Karshadri Vrindaya Tulosideva Krishna Bhakti Bhaktanatva Gurun Bhagavatam Vasanjaya Jai Samarika Shish Garangadar Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Nityananda,
Shri Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhara
Govinda,
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama Rama Rama
Hare
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Chayadev, Srila Shanta Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Prananda Sukadev ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Veda Bhaktivinda ki Jai. Jai to all the worldwide devotees ki Jai.
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार विष्णु भक्ति माधव प्रिय महाराज की जय।
Todos devotos ki Jai. All right. Page 29.
No, 16.
Page 29.
Yasamati.
Guru. Gurudev. Shanta Maharaj. You have to go somewhere. Would you like to say?
Okay, Maharaj. Gurudev kripa bindu diya koroi dase tinapekha oti dino. Akal sahani baladiya karo.
Sakala
Nijo mane sprihahina. সকলে সম্মান করিতে সকতি দেহনাথ যথাযথ আমি তবে তো গাইব হরি নাম সুখে অপরাধ বেহত তবে হেন কৃপা লভিয়া এ জন গাত হইবে নাথ শক্তি বুদ্ধি নামিয়তি দিন কর মোরে আত্মসাত যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাই পায় তোমার করুণা সার করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া প্রাণ না রাখিব আর Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Right, right. Sripad Paramhamsa Parivraj Kacharya Satara Satya Sri Srimad Bhakti Niskapshanta Maharaja Ki Jai.
Jai.
Okay, let's go to Prapanna Jivanamrita. Anjaya Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivraj Kacharya Astatara Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Shridev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
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 146. Number 12. So we're discussing the words of the Lord, Bhagavad-Gita, the nectarian words of the Lord regarding the surrender, process of surrender. You know,
146.
Sri Krishna Prapatir Eva Kruta Jnana Phalam It Anubhavitur Mahatmanaha Sadurla Bhavatam Maunam Janmanam Mante Jnanavamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadurlabha. That's from the Bhagavad-Gita, huh? Tatrayavamiti. From the Bhagavad-Gita. Absolute surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna is the purpose of knowledge. Yeah. The great soul who realizes this truth is exceedingly rare. Having passed through many lifetimes of assiduous spiritual practices by the influence of Sadhu-Sanga, the association of saints, one attains to knowledge of my identity and thus surrenders utterly unto me. Therefore he reaches me and realizes that everything without exception is related to Vasudeva. Thus everything that be is of the nature of Vasudeva. Such a great soul is exceedingly rare. Español.
Yes. La plena entrega a los pies del loto de Sri Krishna es el fin del conocimiento, jnana. La gran alma que comprende esta verdad es muy poco común. Después de haber pasado por muchas vidas de diligentes prácticas espirituales, mediante la influencia de Sadhu-Sanga, la asociación con los santos, una persona puede comprender mi identidad y después él me alcanza y se da cuenta que todo, sin excepción, está relacionado con Vasudeva y que todo es su misma naturaleza. Pero muy rara vez se encuentra un alma tal como es. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita.
Ananditya Bhagavad-Gita. So I don't know if something happened. He's there alone.
Purpose of knowledge. Purpose of knowledge is to surrender to Krishna. Hare Krishna. The great soul who realizes this truth is exceedingly rare. People are acquiring knowledge for so many purposes, trying to acquire knowledge, but they don't know what is the real purpose behind that. What is the real purpose behind the seeking of knowledge? Why do we want to know? Molecules, dirt, the material elements, they have no desire to know anything. They have no desire to know. So why do the living entity want to know? It's only the living soul has a desire to know. The material elements, they don't know and they don't want to know. There are three things. To know, and to be happy, and to live. There are three things. Jai Srimati Priyatima Didi Ki Jai.
Try.
Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Pranam Didi. Dhanyavad Pranam.
Nanda.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Haribo, Haribo. So three things that we have that the material elements don't have. We have a desire to know, we have a desire to be happy, and we have the desire to continue living. Life, knowledge, and fulfillment. Why? Why do we have that desire to know? Why? May Nrsingadev protect his devotees always. So why is that? Any ordinary person living in this world can understand these three fundamental things are there in every living entity, whether they're human or non-human. but especially human beings. They want to know, they want to be happy, and they want to live. Nobody wants to die. Of course, some people are very unhappy and they want to die only, but not really. They think that by dying, they will get rid of their suffering and become happy. But you cannot be happy by dying. Happiness comes in our life when we are surrendered to Krishna, the source of happiness, fulfillment. They call it sat-cit-ananda. Sat means the truth. The truth is eternal. Real truth is eternal. It doesn't change. The scientists give us some truth, some law, something like that, and after 50 years, they change their mind. It's another, not that, it's this. It's not relativity. No, sorry, not Newtonian mechanics, it's relativity. Or it's not relativity, it's quantum mechanics. Every 50 years or so, they change their theory. That's not knowledge, that's a mistake. So Sat, what doesn't change? What doesn't change is that we are alive and that life wants to live, wants to continue on in its course. That is truth. Life is truth, not the opposite. And chit means knowledge. We are seeking knowledge because we are chit potency. We are within ourselves. Within ourselves, there is knowledge within the soul. There is perfect knowledge. It is part of our substance. We may not be conscious of that full knowledge, but because we are part of Krishna, that knowledge is there. And therefore, we want to know, what is that? I want to reach our true substance. I want to be our true selves. And that true self is in connection with Krishna, in connection with the sum total of all knowledge. And to be happy. Happy means fulfillment. We want fulfillment in our life. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. That is happiness. We are Ananda by nature. We are blissful, joyful. Our true nature is to be that. Joyful. We look outside us, there's all misery. But within, very deep within the heart, the substance, very substance of our being, beyond consciousness. We're not even conscious of those things. Consciousness is a very limited thing. What we are conscious of is very limited. It's like if you shine a light in the dark, flashlight, only a little portion of the light. If you shine the flashlight on the wall in the dark, only a circle of light will be there. Outside that circle, there's all darkness. And as you increase the circumference of the light, as you increase the area, the volume of the light, the circumference grows more and more. And that means the darkness there is even more, more dark. Circumference of darkness also increases. So consciousness is like that. It's like the light within the circle. It doesn't cover everything. And more than it doesn't cover than it does cover. So beyond consciousness, there is something else, which may not be visible to us now, but it is there nonetheless. And it becomes known to us in consciousness by its own potency. Because that darkness is not dead. Beyond our limited is the infinite. Beyond our limited view, our finite view is the infinite. And that infinite is not ignorant, is not dumb. And he is not full of emptiness. It can't be full of emptiness. And full of completeness. Whatever makes us complete, that is found there, but in potential form. If you put in the darkness, if there's a bushel pot upside down in the darkness, you pick up that pot, try to turn it proper side up, no light will come out. But if you have a bushel and under there a candle, and the bushel is covering the candle, then when you pick the bushel up, then the candle, the light will come out. It means you can't get light from darkness. Light can come from light. The light will come from light. You can't uncover darkness and get light, but you kind of uncover the light, and then the whole darkness will be removed. So like that. You have to understand there is a light. The light of the world, the light of our soul, the light of everything. And the only thing that's covering that is our failure to understand that the light has to be uncovered. It can't be produced from darkness, from ignorance. How to uncover that? And it's called Krishna consciousness. By becoming Krishna conscious, by surrendering to Krishna, then the darkness is removed. As long as we remain in the attitude, in the mood of exploitation, of trying to get something in this world, that light will be covered. The light of Krishna consciousness will be covered. The light that Krishna is the source of everything, is the controller, Ishvara. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the controller. He is in control. And we are but his servants, his puppets, but being controlled by him for his purposes. That is proper knowledge. Socrates said, I only know that I know nothing. And Delphic Oracle said, here's a wise man. Our knowledge should lead to that. Our knowledge should lead to the fact that we don't know. That's knowledge. What is that? Someone wants to come in?
No, comment.
Okay. Jai Ami Sindhu Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Prabhu. Knowledge is meant to say that we don't know. That means knowledge leads to surrender. That kind of knowledge, by which we understand our limited nature of our knowledge. That kind of knowledge. The negative knowledge of what is the limitations of things. That will lead to surrender. That is true knowledge. The one who realizes this is very rare. So Mahatma Sadhguru is such a great soul, is very rare, it says in the Gita. Once he knows that he is not the knower of everything, but there is a knower of everything, Vasudeva. There is that reality which permeates all, everything, everything everywhere. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Not that I am foolish, therefore the whole world and everything is meaningless. Not like that. There's meaning, there's everything. There's joy, there's knowledge, there's fulfillment. Otherwise, why do we seek these things if they don't exist? We seek them because that is our inner nature. But all we experience in here in this world is the temporary, the finite. So we have to learn. It is not that the problem is is us. We are the cause of our own finitude, our finite thinking, our finite desires, finite aspirations, our finite endeavors. This is causing the problem. Otherwise, what is there within us and is seeking to find its true home in the infinite world, in the world of surrender and service and love. Lord, many lifetimes, Bahunam Janmanam Ante means after going through many, many millions of lifetimes. Jnanavamam Prapadyante. By going through many lifetimes, it's sadhana and Sadhu-Sanga. One can get his knowledge, his realization. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The truth of what we are, what everything is, found there in Vasudeva. To embrace that. Or to be embraced by that, I should say. We can embrace the infinite, but then try. But the infinite is embracing us. And in the higher world, we can embrace the infinite. And we recognize our true nature. That's possible. That not only the infinite embraces us, but we can also embrace the infinite. It's so impossible, inconceivable to understand in the mundane sense. But in the spiritual world, that is possible. Anyone want to say any more? Shantamars is there.
Yes,
Anyone?
Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj. Anything you'd like to say?
This is the Gita's, sloka also.
Yes.
So Maharaj, many life's experience, they may not be directly in our consciousness, but they are reflecting in one's, what you can say, conviction.
Prahlad Maharaj, I was mentioning that sloka before. That the hair and the Srila, Hridaye and the. That's Vasudeva. Everywhere. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva means Krishna. Krishna alone, by himself. Not Radha Krishna, but Krishna alone. This is a realization of Krishna as solitary just as in Shringadev. And that verse means Krishna, Shringa, Narayan. But there's also other conception of Narayan and Lakshmi and Narayan and Radha and Krishna. And there, in that case, and those realizations of the duality, Radha Krishna, is not a duality, it's also a unity and difference. There's a realization not only of the energy of not only of the Lord, but of the Lord and his energy. A difference is made between the predominating and predominated higher conception and simply predominating. And like that finer gradation is found as we move higher, realization. The Lord and his servant. There can't be a Lord unless there's something to lord it over. There can't be a king unless he has his subjects and his kingdom. There's no meaning to the king by himself. In the same way, there's no meaning of the Lord without that which he lords over, his kingdom and his subjects. The finer conception, where there's differentiation, determination. But the preliminary stage is to recognize the Lord, even by himself. There's an initial, what do you call that, neophyte? The starting position. How we interpret the Bhagavad-Gita will depend upon the individual person. We can see it as the class for the beginners, those who are trying to come out from the material world. They can approach Bhagavad-Gita in that way. But Sridhara saw it in a more advanced way. So even there was Madhurya being explained. Depending on the student, you will see in different ways, different things.
Maharaj,
Yes.
this objective consciousness that, to see from the vision of Lord, and that subjective consciousness from individuals, standpoint,
Okay.
how it is harmonized in the sense that even there are different, gradations in theism.
By surrender. Only by surrender. By surrender, the Lord's viewpoint becomes prominent. By refusing to surrender, our viewpoint becomes prominent. What do you think?
I was just thinking about, this objective, consciousness to see from the vision of I, even that vision of God, that also seems to be different for different individuals.
So it's only surrender that will allow us to see what he wants. We don't see what we want. We see what we want, bro. That's material. To see what he wants, that is surrender. And then, of course, in a spiritual sense, then the individual has a vision of the Lord in a particular way, particular rasa. That's a higher higher conception, not based upon individual desire anymore. It's based
But
upon
Hegel's philosophy is explained that objective consciousness or the understanding of thing is same for everybody because it is the vision of Lord. Then how that is same in the sense that if the rasas are different, the same thing can be seen differently.
no, I don't think Hegel was able to enter into that rasatology. The conception of rasa is not found in his teachings.
Madhava Maharaj,
Yes?
Madhava Maharaj, Madhava. The notion, though, of the idea, ed, is that, and this is quoting from Hegel, and it says, the idea is the concept, insofar as the concept gives reality and existence to itself. I repeat that. The idea is the concept, and insofar as the concept gives reality and existence to itself. To do this, the concept must determine itself, and the determination is nothing external, but it is the concept itself. In other words, it is a self-determination. And within the philosophy of Hegel and the understanding of Vaishnava and consciousness, the application of the idea being the concept, as far as the concept is giving reality the existence of itself.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry for interruption.
Yeah. That is the speculative, what Hegel calls speculative conception or viewpoint. Conceptual realism. Where Hegel is an absolute idealist. Absolute idealist means the ideal is the real, and the real is the ideal. There's a difference, but that difference is also an identity. They're identical, like when you have identical twins. They're different, but at the same time, they're identical. So the concept and the real, the ideal and the real, are different, but they're also identical. The ideal, the concept, and the realization, the actuality. When the ideal, you could say, is the potential, and the real is the actualization, the activity. So we have to understand that in Hegelian philosophy, we're not talking about static existence. We're talking about living, dynamic thought. Describing something living and dynamic, organic. You're not talking about the way thought usually works, is to talk about things as some kind of substance, substantial, unconscious, unliving items or thoughts even. But Hegel tries to give us, put us into a living mode of thinking, a mode that follows living, thoughts that follow the life activity, the life process, the living process. And in that living process, there is movement of thought. To follow that moving thought, we have to be very flexible in our own self and not try to grasp everything in some static form, tangible form. We have to be very pliable in our thinking and our hearts and allow that flow. the flow of the living thought, the thought of the living, to take its course. And surrender. And we have to surrender to that thought, that living thought, the thought of the living. And that is not our thought. And finite, our thought is finite. That thought has no limitation, which is at the basis of everything, which we can say is the thought of the Lord, God's thoughts. Einstein said, I don't want to know this or that or the other. I want to know the mind of God. He told. Mind of God is very, has no limit. And we can only be part of that. We can only, what God was saying, connect with that through surrender, accepting it in its own free movement and free determination. That determines what we are. And that is ourself. That substance that we are is God. Underneath all things, there is God. Ansegel gave the example that we misunderstand supreme being. When we call God the supreme being, we misunderstand what that means. Supreme being doesn't mean there's some being who is supreme, and then there's all other beings that are not supreme. And that is not the proper understanding of supreme being. Supreme being means there's no other being but that being. Human being? What does it mean, human being? Being means what? There's not two beings. Being can't be two. Being means the same thing, one thing. Being, it is. But it's true. So it's not like there's one mountain that's bigger than the others, and then the other mountains are there too. No, they're all made of the same stuff. That's being. Not this mountain versus that mountain. What are the mountains made of? That's their being. It's all the same being. It's all one being. That's supreme being. That supreme being from which all other beings get their being. That is God. So our being is in God, then, in the supreme being, not in our own finite being. That is called Maya. That is the illusion. Being is one. And we are all part of that. And what do we say? I am, that being, has its substance in the supreme. Haribol, Teres.
Haribol, sorry I'm late.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Vasudeva Sarvamiti is explained there also. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, the supreme being, is Vasudeva. And he's everywhere, everything is Vasudeva. You are also, we are all Vasudeva, but not in a individual sense, not in a finite sense. In our ultimate sense, everything is Krishna. Essence, we can say. Essence. Every tree is a tree. I say tree, and every tree is a tree. But every tree is not the universal tree. Each individual tree is not the universal tree. Tree is a universal word, a universal term that relates to all trees. Every tree then has to participate and that idea of tree. The idea of tree is there, and every tree participates in that. That's why we call it tree. But each individual tree is not the universal that we say when we say tree. It's a particular instance of the universal. So there's a difference, and there's a sameness. Every tree is a tree, but not every tree is that tree. Just like when you say animal, maybe it's easier to understand. When you say animal, every animal is an animal. But there's a difference between animal and dog. A dog is an animal, but the dog is not every animal. There's also cats, elephants, and so forth. So there's a universal animal, and there's the particulars. So there's God, and there's this creation. And everything is a creation of God. It's His energy. But not everything is God. God is everywhere, but not that everything is God. We worship the deity, but we don't worship the mud or the stool or the other things like that. We don't worship the refrigerator. Refrigerator is also God's energy. But we reserve our worship for the deity and the devotee, and not all these things. So they say God is everything, but everything is not God. Not that God is every little thing. How do you explain that, Shanta Maharaj? How do you explain that? God is
But
everything.
everything is coming from God, but that everything is not God. You want to explain that?
Yes.
It's like energy and energetic, Maharaj.
Yeah.
So if the energy can come from God, they have some similarities there, but it is not exactly the source. Actually, there is some difference exists there. So, we cannot make Sakti and Shaktiman the same.
Your light bulb, the light bulb is coming from the powerhouse. The light is coming from the powerhouse. But your light bulb is not the powerhouse. Electricity is coming from the powerhouse and lighting your light bulb. But the light bulb itself is not the source of the power for all the other light bulbs. Light bulb. Getting its power from somewhere. And all the light bulbs are getting their power from the dynamo, wherever it's coming from. Nowadays they have power coming from the windmills, or the solar panels, or they burn coal, or they have waterfall, hydroelectric. Power is coming from there, and then it's being distributed to all the light bulbs everywhere. But we can't say that light bulb is the source. Even though it's that electricity that's going in that light bulb is coming from that waterfall. And it cannot give its power to others. Not too much. There's some kind of substation sometimes they have. The electric comes through a substation, and that substation distributes it to other places. But that's not the source. The substation is not the source of the power. So the original,
another thing is that God has that infinite consciousness. He is everywhere in that sense. Means he is aware of everything. But that does not mean that he is aware of everything, that those things also is God.
what? Yes. Rishikesha Rishikenam. Sevadam Bhakti Ruchate. The source of the senses is the source of the senses. We are sensing things, but where does that come from? Where do those senses go? How do you see? We are seeing, but where is that seeing power coming from? The molecules, the eyeball can't see. The dead body eyeball is there. But can that eyeball see anything? Eyeball can't see. The seeing doesn't come from the eyeball, doesn't come from the brain. It comes from Rishikesh, the controller, the owner, the possessor of the senses. Rishi Kesha. Kesha means the Lord. Rishi, the senses. Rishi Kesha, Rishikanam, all the senses of all the living entities. They are to be utilized in the service of the Lord, who is the owner and controller of the senses. That is bhakti. Huh? That is bhakti. That is service. Highest form of service. Okay. We'll read one more. Anyone have any more comment, question? All right. Anything you'd like to add?
Kumar wrote something.
Huh? Okay.
Please explain. God is everywhere and everything is created by God. Then why everything is not God? Whatever comes from God is part of God. Then it is God? Question mark. The essence of power provided to both is from God. Human being create human being as God created. Human being creates human being as God created it, as other things are also part of God.
Well, I'd like a candle. Huh? From one candle, you could light another candle. And from that other candle, you could also light another candle. One candle, you could light so many candles, no? So human being can create another, comes from another human being, yes. But who put the light in the first candle? Where did that light come from? Candle doesn't light itself. Can be lit from another candle. But the first candle has to be lit by somebody. That's God. He is the creator. And from his creation, everything can come. But not without his, the Adi Purush. Adi Purush means the first person has to be there.
Tony has a question.
Yes.
He's on mute.
What is your question, Tony?
You're on mute, Tony.
Yeah. No, we can hear you. We can't hear you. Can't
Star
hear you?
6.
Okay, I did not understand what you said about infinite.
Infinite.
Mhm,
Who can
Infinite. Sorry,
understand
infinite.
infinite?
Arm accent. Infinite.
Ah,
Infinite.
infinite.
Infinite. Okay.
Infinite means beyond the finite. How we can understand it. There's only one way to understand the infinite. Only one way. That's if the infinite talks to us. If the infinite tells us what it wants, what he wants, then we can understand the infinite. Otherwise, how will we ever understand the infinite? Infinite has to be able to tell us what to do. That's why we have Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita means the infinite is coming to tell us who he is, what he wants. And the infinite in the Bhagavad-Gita tells us, Mam ekam sharanam. Mam ekam sharanam braja. You must surrender to me, he says. Ekam. I am the only one. You must surrender only to me. This is the only one you must surrender to. Not to anything else, not to yourself, not to anybody else. Because I am the infinite. Everyone else is finite. If you want to go to finite life, you can have that. The finite will go on forever and ever. Then you'll have samsara. If you don't finish getting what you finite, what your finite desires are in this world, you'll get another chance to go on forever. That is also kind of infinite. Infinitely seeking pleasure, desire, fulfilling your desires, one after the other, without end. Another type of finite, infinite rather. But that infinite never ends. You don't really become satisfied. It always remains some finite thing and some other finite desire after that. That will be frustrating. And Krishna says, don't go that way. You want to come to the infinite. Your only choice is to surrender to the infinite. Let the infinite take over and do what he wants. Express himself through you. He can utilize his puppets to tell a story, whatever he wants to do. We are the puppets, that's all. We're the servants. We're the servants of Krishna. And we can't play Krishna. We can't do what he does. Yes, we can create life from life by having babies, whatever. But we are not the original creator of life. We're getting our life from our parent getting from their parent, so forth and so on. When you go back to the original Adi Purusha, who is that? That's Krishna. Just like the candle. It may be a candle, but where did you get your fire from? Another candle. And like that, if we go back to the original candle, who is that? That is Krishna. Maharaj, what do you say?
Yeah, that is the main thing, Maharaj. The originality, we cannot change that. And its potency is, inconceivable. Like, for example, even in the mundane sense, the original cell from which the whole body develops, that original cells potency is cannot be compared with other cells that successively developed. That thing we can understand from there also. Like there is some potency, they call it a different potency in biological sense. But in the case of Krishna, it actually it is like the cell has to be damaged here, but he exists and yet so many, other things are coming from there.
Yeah. They try to make the first cell, they say in the evolution, Darwin, they say that the first cell was made from something non-living. They somehow the chemicals got together and they made the first living cell. All right, that's what they say. Prove it. Let's see. What is the proof? Can you put the chemicals together? They can't do it. They don't know even the chemicals that were used. And the science, the chemistry, the biology, the biologists, chemists and biologists, they have no idea how to do that. After all these many years of science, over 100 years of chemistry and physics and biology, they still don't know how the first cell, first life, was formed from non-life. Because it wasn't. You can't explain life. Life was there, and that first life is Krishna. And from him, everything came down. Life can generate one after the other.
Dandavad Maharaj,
Dhanyavad.
may I ask, go back to Tony's initial question with
Okay.
regard to the finite and infinite, that with regards to one has to have a concept of what is finite within one's own mortality before one can enter into the discussion of infinite. So therefore, a consciousness of one's own mortality in the finite of aspects within the body that exists within oneself. And then, as Guru has explained, finite may have access to infinite through Guru.
Yes.
And
It is said that Guru is the point where the infinite comes to instruct the finite. Where the infinite and finite meet, that is called Guru. Guru is the representation of the infinite. Guru is surrendered to the infinite. Therefore, he can be used by the infinite to tell the finite what is the real infinite about. Guru is the point where the finite and infinite meet. You want to come in touch with the infinite? You must find Guru. Guru can reveal what the infinite is because he has submitted to the instruction of the infinite. Through his Guru. It is called Guru Parampara. One after the other. Original Guru is Krishna. And Krishna instructs Brahma. And Brahma instructs Narada. And Narada instructs his disciple and so forth. Down through the ages. And in this way, the infinite knowledge comes to the finite. Through the Guru Parampara. That's our only access to it. Just like if you are drowning in the ocean, nobody's around. What will you do? You will drown. Only if somebody comes in the ship, some ship comes by and there's somebody in that ship and says, oh, you need some help, then you can get out. Not on your own. You cannot approach the infinite on your own. You need some help. Just like the drowning man. You need help. Don't think you can do everything all by yourself. That's not possible. You go on the beach, on the ocean. Child is on the beach, on the ocean. He's trying to put the sand in his bucket, one handful at a time. Is he going to get all that sand by one handful? Can you do that? Can you pick up all the sand with your little hand? Like that. The finite cannot approach the infinite, cannot pick it up with his little mind. Saraswati could call puppy brain. Not possible. But by going to the Guru Dev, submitting to Guru Dev, we can have some idea, some connection. And in that way, we may live our life practically. Maharaj, do you have anything you'd like to add or say? Correction?
No, Maharaj.
Okay.
Srila Shanta Maharaj, I had a little friend in this moment. Do you like sit? I'm my friend.
Yes.
My friend.
You will be attacked. You are keeping him on your cup.
Ya estamos aquí, friend, pum, oh. Bad friend.
Hi, Gurudev.
All right. And then I'm going to end our session. Maharaj, is it okay?
Dandavat Maharaj.
My Dandavat to you.
Om Vishnubhat Paramahansa Prabhupada Goswami Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Hi.
Srila Bhakti Niskam Santa Maharaj ki jai. And Srila Krishna Kesara Prabhu, Umadevi Didi, Therese Didi, Harinanda Prabhu, Priyadarshini Didi, and Priyatama Didi ki jai, Bhagavati Didi, and Ananditi Didi ki jai, Yamiya Sindhu ki jai, and then who was there? Surendra Prabhu and what was the other one?
Tony Pradhan.
Oh, Tony Pradhanji ki jai. Jai Om Sripad Paramahamsa Parivraja Kachaya Satata Sata Shri Sripad Bhakti Niskam Santa Maharaj ki jai. Om Premanandi Hari Hari Om. Please be well. Please be well. All good fortune, good health to all.
Tomorrow we meet same time.
Oh, we are meeting tomorrow also, same time for Shringa Chaturdasi. We'll have a meeting tomorrow, okay, if you'd like to come. Evil.
Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj.
Yes, Sindhu Prabhu ki jai.
Bye.